नमस्ते गुरुजी। जय गुरुजी महाराज। जय गुरुजी साथ संगत जी। शुक्राना गुरुजी महाराज द मल्टीलिंगुअल रूम प्लेटफॉर्म की तरफ से समस्त गुरु परिवार का बहुत बहुत स्वागत है। आज हमारे बीच में MP सिंह अंकल उपस्थित हैं, जो कि अपनी संगत के लिए आए हैं, गुरुजी की गुणगान करने के लिए आए हैं। आपका बहुत बहुत स्वागत है MP सिंह अंकल। इसी के साथ मैं राशिमा माली आंटी से रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा, प्लीज सेशन को आगे बढ़ाएं। जय गुरुजी।
जय गुरुजी अंकल। जय गुरुजी। जैसा कि आप सब जानते हैं कि गुरुजी का एक वचन है कि जिस दा प्यार महापुरुषा दा नाल पै जावे उस दुनिया को एक तमाशा लगूगा। तो सब जिस क्या है तो सब जिसका फिक्का लगूगा। हाँ जी, जिस दा प्यार महापुरुषा नाल पै जाए उस दुनिया एक तमाशा लगूगा, ते सारा जग फिक्का लगूगा। अंकल, आप ये व्याख्या प्लीज हमें अपने तरफ से बयान करें।
जय गुरुजी।
जय गुरुजी।
आप सबको बैसाखी की बहुत बहुत बधाइयाँ। आज बहुत शुभ दिन है। गुरुजी always celebrated it with so much happiness. We still remember that. There was so much happiness, so much joy on Baisakhi Day. It was a special celebration which was done at Bade Mandir. Sangat was at the Chote Mandir. But for special days, Guruji had celebrations at Bade Mandir on his birthday, New Year's Day, Guru Purnima, Shivratri, and on Baisakhi. So it's a very special day. Very happy to be with you for Guruji's Yashgan. I'd also like to say that I'm very impressed by all the work that Multilingual group is doing. Actually, not just impressed, it's amazing. आप गुरुजी की कृपा से, गुरुजी के आशीर्वाद से ऐसे ही करते रहिए और अपना स्कोप बढ़ाते रहिए। तो गुरुजी के बारे में कुछ शेयर करना चाहता हूँ, अपने थॉट्स, अपने एक्सपीरियंसेस। गुरुजी से पहली बार दर्शन गुरुजी के हुए थे 98 में हम लोग। उस समय हम लोग सिंगापुर में थे। हम लोग इंडिया वेकेशन कर रहे थे। हमारी एक बेटी उसको बहुत सीरियस अस्थमा का प्रॉब्लम था उस समय। उसको उस समय अटैक भी हो गया था। उसके बाद हम लोग दिल्ली में थे वापस आने के लिए सिंगापुर। मेरे चाचा जी जो गुरुजी को बहुत पुराने उनको भक्त हैं, उन्होंने मुझसे बस ये कहा कि अगर श्रद्धा हो तो गुरुजी के पास ले चलूंगा, उनकी कृपा होगी तो बेटी ठीक हो जाएगी। मुझे तो कुछ मालूम भी नहीं था क्या कह रहे हैं, परंतु मैं तुरंत तैयार हो गया क्योंकि उस समय वो जिंदगी की सबसे बड़ी समस्या थी। और वहां गए पहले ही दिन, दैट वाज 28 दिसंबर 1998। जो ही गुरुजी के पैर छुए, गुरुजी ने कहा अशोक आ गया। आई एम कॉल्ड अशोक एट होम। Guruji used to address everybody by their name. I didn't know that at that time. But Guruji knew of course, we all went there with his permission, with his blessing, and we were all addressed by our name. और गुरुजी को सब कुछ मालूम रहता था। और उसी पहले ही दिन गुरुजी ने हाथ उठाया और कह दिया कल्याण कित्ता। And that cured our daughter forever. She never had any asthma problem ever. That was our first meeting with Guruji. पहली मीटिंग में गुरुजी ने कल्याण कर दिया। उसके बाद अक्सर चला जाता था, जब भी मौका मिलता था या मन होता था। मैं सिंगापुर में था। एशिया पैसिफिक वाज माय एरिया। आई वाज मैनेजिंग डायरेक्टर फॉर माय कंपनी। तो जब भी मन होता था गुरुजी के दर्शन के लिए चला जाता था। और हर तरह के चमत्कार, हर तरह की अद्भुत चीजें मैंने देखी वहां। सब तरह की बीमारियां गुरुजी तुरंत ठीक कर दिया करते थे। लोगों की समस्याओं का तुरंत समाधान कर दिया करते थे। All just in moments. It was just an amazing experience. It was just like a magic all the time. समय बीतता गया लोग कहते थे गुरुजी शिव जी हैं। मैंने कहा हो सकता हो, मुझे मालूम नहीं था। एक दिन मैं गुरुजी के पास अकेला बैठा था, कोई आसपास नहीं था। मेरे मन में एक बहुत उत्सुकता थी कि गुरुजी हैं कौन। मैंने, और ये भी उत्सुकता थी कि गुरुजी सोते कब हैं, क्योंकि मैंने गुरुजी को कभी सोते हुए नहीं देखा था। संगत रात को काफी देर तक चलती रहती थी, कभी कभी 2-3 बज जाते थे और भी देर हो जाती थी। और उसके बाद मुझे बताया जाता था कि गुरुजी पाठ करते हैं, फिर उनकी दिनचर्या होती रही होगी। मुझे ये समझ में आता था गुरुजी कभी सोते भी हैं कि नहीं। उस दिन मुझसे रहा नहीं गया, वैसे गुरुजी ने मना किया था कि कुछ पूछना नहीं अपने गुरु से, परंतु उस दिन मुझसे रहा नहीं गया। मैंने पूछा गुरुजी आप कभी सोते हैं? And he gave the answer, but so beautiful, and I'll share his exact words. बहुत प्यार से मुस्कुराए। It was completely a divine smile. I can't describe it. और उन्होंने कहा मैं सोऊंगा तो सृष्टि को कौन देखेगा। These were his exact words. If I sleep, who will look after the creation? वैसे गुरुजी हमेशा पंजाबी में बोलते थे और ठेठ पंजाबी में बोलते थे, और उनकी पंजाबी मुझे समझ में ज्यादा नहीं आती। और उस दिन बिल्कुल शुद्ध हिंदी में बोले। I think he wanted to make sure I understood properly. So he revealed himself. He said who he was. He told me who he was. परंतु फिर मन में विचार आता होगा आपको भी कि अगर वो शिव जी हैं तो क्या कर रहे थे। तो उसके लिए आपको मैं शिव पुराण ले चलता हूँ। शिव पुराण में जब शिव जी when he wants to create, he has a desire to create, तो उन्होंने पहले ब्रह्मा जी को बनाया। ब्रह्मा जी को इंस्ट्रक्शंस दिए कि आप सृष्टि को बनाओ। So with much effort, with lot of trial and error, ब्रह्मा finally succeeds. और जब ब्रह्मा सफल हुए तो उनको इतना घमंड हुआ कि उन्होंने 4 सिर उनके हो गए। Look, his head is सृष्टि from all the 4 directions. उससे भी नहीं मन भरा तो उनका 5वां सिर निकल आया घमंड से। शिव जी ने कहा कि ब्रह्मा देखिए क्यों खुश हो रहा है। So he looked at the सृष्टि and he was very very sad. He was at pain. उन्होंने देखा कि there is so much suffering. You know, there is pain and sorrow. There's betrayal, there's violence, there's greed. There's all kind of things which are not correct. And there was not much that was correct. Only there was some glimpse of happiness and pleasure that kept the people going, that kept the human beings going. And with that, the human beings were sinking deeper into this karmic cycle of birth and death. बहुत दुखी हुए। उन्होंने कहा ब्रह्मा से, ब्रह्मा तुमने ये क्या किया? But Brahma was so proud, he didn't even listen. He was not listening. तब शिव जी को क्रोध आया। उनके क्रोध से उत्पन्न हुए काल भैरव। उन्होंने काल भैरव को इंस्ट्रक्शंस दिए, ब्रह्मा का 5वां सिर उखाड़ के फेंक दो। काल भैरव hesitated, but he did as instructed. Of course, इनको बहुत बड़ा पेनांस करना पड़ा because that was the ultimate sin, ब्रह्म हत्या. But for doing that work, you know, Shiv ji also gifted him the city of Varanasi later on. But on the 5th head, once the 5th head was snatched and thrown away, ब्रह्मा को होश आया। तब उन्हें समझ में आया उन्होंने क्या गलतियां करी। उन्होंने कहा शिव जी से, लॉर्ड मुझसे बहुत गलती हो गई, आप इसे ठीक कर दीजिए। शिव जी ने कहा नहीं, मैं गलतियां तो मैं नहीं ठीक कर सकता, क्योंकि मैंने कहा था तुमने किया, और अपने भक्तों के उद्धार के लिए मैं कभी कभी पृथ्वी पर जाऊंगा। So that's what happens. Very rarely, but sometimes, Lord himself comes down to earth to take care of some of his devotees. So that's what Guruji was doing. He was amongst us. We were very lucky, very fortunate. It may happen very rarely, but he was there with us. But let's go back to Shivpura. After his disappointment with what Brahma's creation, Lord came down to earth, to the city of Varanasi. He sat facing south, facing Dakshin, and was called Dakshinamurti. And then He meditated upon the solution for what Brahma had created, found a solution. And then he taught that as yoga, as Yogeshwar, to all those who were there. He didn't charge any fee, no dakshina. And the knowledge that he disseminated at that time as Yogeshwar was there for among, that was there on the earth, but it was never compiled or systematically organized until sage Patanjali came along. And sage Patanjali very beautifully organized all that information on what Lord had taught as yoga. Yoga means, joining, how we can join him. And that book is Yoga Sutra. And what I'd like to do is take you through that book and compare that with what Guruji was doing and share with you that Guruji did exactly what he did at the beginning of creation as Dakshinamurti, as Yogeshwar, and he repeated the same thing amongst us. So the first part of it's a yoga is called yoga by Patanjali is called Ashtanga Yoga. There are 8 parts. The first part, the first step is yam. Yam are rules for our behavior, our conduct with others. And there are 5 rules that are shared by Patanjali, of course, as shared by Lord Shiva himself. The most important of that rules, among those rules, is ahimsa, non-violence. Now let's think about what Guruji told us. Guruji said, harm no one, right? Not the same thing. Now the second step in Ashtanga Yoga is niyam. Niyam are the rules for our own conduct toward ourselves. And again, Patanjali gives us 5 rules as given by Lord himself. And the most important among niyam is Ishwar Pranidhan, Samarpan. Samarpan to our Lord, to our personal God. What did Guruji tell us? Mango mat, mano, right? Another way to say surrender. Exactly the same thing. Third step in Ashtanga Yoga is asana. How we sit for yoga, for dhyan. And Patanjali says, sthir sukham ya asana. Asana ki 2 requirement, sthir and sukh. Something in a position, a posture in which we can be steady and also comfortable. And the easiest posture for that is cross-legged on floor, right? Because Patanjali himself disclosed what he wanted. He said, sthir sukh asana, sukhasana. Sukhasana is cross-legged on the floor. How did we sit in Guruji's Sangat? Most of us were sitting cross-legged on the floors. Some had some support from the wall, but we were all, I think, sitting cross-legged. Irrespective of how physically we felt. Most of us probably couldn't sit cross-legged otherwise, but in Guruji's Sangat, it was very easy to do that. Fourth step in Ashtanga Yoga is pranayam or breath control. Now, pranayam is itself a regimen, but Patanjali limits it basically to observation of breath. He asks that we observe our breathing at the tip of our nostril. You observe the air and it goes in through the nostrils when we inhale, and we observe the air and it goes out again through the nostrils as we exhale. That's all he expects us to do. That is one way to keep ourselves energized and stay alert during dhyan. Now, I don't know, Guruji never told us what he was doing with us, but we used to sit in dhyan for like 2 hours, even longer at times. And it was absolutely a beautiful, divine, blissful experience. कभी थकान नहीं लगती थी, कभी परेशानी नहीं होती थी. And I felt that I always used to feel that it should never end. It was just absolutely a heavenly experience. और I'm sure everybody had the same experience. और हम लोग कभी meditation करने की ज़्यादा हम लोग को आदत नहीं थी. Most of us never had any meditation experience. But we were always in deep meditation, fully alert and enjoying ourselves completely. And that's only possible because Guruji, I think, controlled and did pranayam for us. He made us do it without us realizing it, because that's the only way we can stay alert and energized, for such a long time. The fifth step in Ashtanga Yoga is pratyahar. That means focusing, moving our Gyanendriya, the 5 Gyanendriya, from outside focus, changing the focus to inside. And we did that too. Because see, the most, we have, ears and eyes through which most of the disturbance comes in. Eyes were closed, and through ears we were listening to Gurbani Shabad. Of course, there's Guruji's fragrance through the nose. We were basically not eating anything except we had some chai prasad. So basically, the pratyahar there consisted of, as Patanjali would expect us, to close our eyes and to be not disturbed otherwise. The next 3 steps are actually, they are all combined together in a way. They are the dharana, dhyan, and samadhi. Dharana is focus. And of course, our focus was on Guruji. And it should also be, again, if we do dhyan, again the same thing. Dharana automatically leads into dhyan. And dhyan requires our Guruji's blessing. And when dhyan is very good, when we are able to totally connect with him, that becomes samadhi. Now, dhyan used to be so beautiful in Guruji's Sangat. I used to enjoy it so much, and I was absolutely, as I said, a divine experience, totally blissful. एक बार मेरा मन हुआ मैं देखूं और लोग भी ऐसी enjoy कर रहे हैं क्या, तो मैंने कभी आंख खोल के देखता नहीं था, मन ही नहीं होता था आंख खोलने का. It was like you didn't want to break anything. You were just like in a spell, and you didn't want the spell to break. आंख खोलने का मन ही नहीं होता था. पर उस दिन मैंने कहा कि मैं आंख खोल के देखूंगा चारों ओर और लोग क्या कर रहे हैं. मैंने चारों ओर देखा. Everyone was in deep meditation, just like I was. Imagine, everybody. Most people never meditated before. Most people probably didn't meditate afterwards or before coming. You probably can't meditate like that again. But it was absolutely a divine experience in Guruji's Sangha. And I'm sure Guruji took us to Samadhi also and brought us out of Samadhi also. And so that's what used to happen. So this is, you see, what Guruji was doing in the Sangat was exactly as explained by him at the beginning of creation, as Yogeshwar, as Dakshinamurti, as described by Patanjali. So he was doing the same thing. No change at all. He was basically making us go through yoga. We may not have realized it. We may still not realize it. But that's exactly what was happening. Now, we did dhyan for about 2 hours in Guruji's Sangat. After that, we had langar. Of course, during dhyan, we also got chai prasad, sometimes twice, sometimes more. But see, we did langar came only after dhyan. Dhyan was first. Langar followed. Also, dhyan took 4 times, maybe even longer than what it took for langar. Langar used to be, it used to be 2 or 3 times, because of the number of people who came. But it would typically be over in about half an hour, maybe a little longer. So dhyan took 4 times as long. Dhyan was also done first. But when we think about Sangha today, everybody talks about langar. Everyone talks about chai prasad. People talk about listening to Sangats, sharing Sangat. But does anybody talk about dhyan? Dhyan is the most important element. That's what we have to do. अगर आप गुरुजी से connect करना चाहते हैं, the only way to do that is through dhyan. There is no other way. And Guruji is always available. He is waiting for us to connect with him. Problem is at our end. We don't sincerely make an effort to connect. And even if we are making an effort, we somehow block ourselves. We think we will not be able to connect. So get rid of that blockage and make time. And just follow Patanjali's schedule. आराम से बैठिए, पालथी मार के जमीन पर. अगर जमीन पर नहीं बैठ सकते हैं, तो sit on a hard chair. Don't sit on a sofa. Back should be straight. Right? Observe your breathing. As you inhale and exhale, keep your eyes closed. Listen to Sangat Gurbani. And every Gurbani and every Shabad is not same. Some are more conducive for meditation. So select the ones which you like, which you think you will enjoy as a meditative aid. Play that. And of course, before Sangat, before Dhyan, pray to Guruji, talk to Guruji and say to Guruji, Guruji, अब मैं ध्यान करने बैठना चाहता हूँ, आप ध्यान अपनी इच्छानुसार कराइए. Leave it to him to control the quality of your dhyan. And dhyan starts with dharana. For dharana, we need a photograph of Guruji with a candle or a diya burning. Now, आंखें तो हमारी बंद होंगी ध्यान के समय, but having that photo or that image helps us create and recreate that image inside our own mind. And of course, if you do that with regularity, you will benefit. Now the question is, when should you do it? The recommendation always is first thing in the morning. Now Brahm Muhurat is praised so much. Brahm Muhurat, of course, starts at 3:30 in the morning, and most of us probably are not up at that time, probably don't want to be up at that time. But do dhyan at the first thing in the morning for many reasons. First, then you'll have regularity. Because if you do it first thing in the morning, you'll do it. Otherwise, if you say, I'll do it at 1 o'clock or 7 o'clock, something else may happen at 1 or 7 o'clock, you may not be able to do it. So if you do it first thing in the morning, there'll be a regular routine. The second thing, if you get up early in the morning, there's hardly any disturbance or interruptions at that time. So dhyan acha hota hai. But the most important thing is, why do we do dhyan? Dhyan ke liye Patanjali bolte hain, chit, vrit, nirodh. Chit is our combination of man, buddhi and ahankar. Mind, intellect and ego. These together produce all our thoughts, our desires and our motivation to act. Inki shanti honi chahiye. Vritti is, modifications, distortions, turbulence. Nirodh is stopping, cessation. So cessation of our unnecessary thoughts, desires, etc. is the goal of meditation. The goal of meditation is to put us completely at peace. So we can have yoga, we can join with Guruji. Morning, the first thing in the morning is the best time for doing it, because at that time our chit is at the maximum peace. After that, as we get into other things, as start doing other things, get into our daily schedule, we have things that take our attention, that bother us, that disturb us, that makes us angry, makes us sad, makes us disappointed, whatever. So our chit is not at peace afterwards, not as much at peace. So first thing in the morning is the best time. And how long should you do it? You should do it for at least 40 minutes. The reason for that is that, irrespective of how peaceful our chit is, we still have a lot of garbage going through our mind, through our thoughts. And it takes some time for Guruji to clean up all that mess. So we have to allow him enough time. Just doing it for 10-15 minutes will not work. He'll not be able to get into dhyan. But if we give at least 40 minutes, hopefully 10-15 minutes will be good dhyan. It may take Guruji and 25 minutes, 30 minutes maybe to clear up the mess. But after that, dhyan will be there. And as we keep doing it, the period will become longer. Our cleansing will take much shorter time. Now, for how many days should we do it? So it becomes a routine. Do it for 40 days. Because if you do it for 40 days, it becomes second nature. Then you would not like to stop it. So my recommendation, if you want to connect with Guruji, do meditation first thing in the morning, do dhyan first thing in the morning for 40 minutes for at least 40 days, it will automatically become a habit. देखिए गुरुजी ने एक बार एक इंसिडेंस हुआ, उसके कारण गुरुजी ने मुझे बुलाया अपने छोटे मंदिर। मैं जब गया तो मुझसे गुरुजी ने कहा, अपने और मेरे बीच किसी को मत रख, और जब भी तेरा मन चाहे तो कॉल कर सकता है. And then he gave me 2 phone numbers. One was for Gaurav, his niece, nephew at that time, and one was for his driver. And he said he's instructed them to take my call at any time, and he's instructed them he'll take my call anytime. Doesn't matter when I call, even if he's doing part. So the message was very clear. He doesn't want us to put anybody between us and him. आपका ध्यान direct होना चाहिए गुरुजी से. And second, he's available all the time. Just believe in it. Don't think that he's not available. He's difficult to reach. You will not be able to connect. Have full faith. Have self-confidence that if you make an effort, he'll let you connect. He'll make you connect. So that's my recommendation. अगर आप गुरुजी से connect करना चाहते हैं, तो the only way is through ध्यान. He himself used to say that. बात नहीं करते थे गुरुजी. People with big egos went to see him. So he always kind of humored everybody. He gave everybody what they expected. Some people thought that they are so big that Guruji must talk to them. So he talked to them. He humored them. But Guruji ने कभी कोई प्रवचन नहीं किया, कुछ सीख नहीं दी. वो हमेशा कहते थे यहाँ पे सब कुछ प्रैक्टिकल होता है. Everything was through experience. And ये भी कहते थे बात मत गुरुजी से कुछ नहीं पूछ, टेलीपैथी से बात किया कर. मुझे पहले तो समझ में नहीं आया कि टेलीपैथी से कैसे बात करूं. हो सकता है गुरुजी बात कर लें टेलीपैथी से, मैं कैसे बात करूं. Much later on, I realized Guruji is saying ध्यान कर. The only way to connect with Guruji, the only way to reach him is through dhyan, and that is a perfect, a sure, short way. Have no doubts about it. But you must make an effort. Now, what about other things? Langar, चाय प्रसाद, और आजकल तो जल प्रसाद भी हो रहा है. तो ये सब की चीजें जो है ना, see, they are not important for connecting with him, but they play a role, and I'll explain that. आपको कभी ये नहीं सोचना चाहिए कि आप लंगर खा लेंगे तो आपको आशीर्वाद मिल जाएगा, या किसी को आशीर्वाद मिल जाएगा, नहीं लंगर खाएंगे तो नहीं आशीर्वाद मिलेगा, etc. Just think about it. अगर गुरुजी किसी को आशीर्वाद देना चाहते हैं तो क्या वो वेट करते हैं कि कोई जब लंगर खाएगा तभी आशीर्वाद देंगे? खुद ही सोचिए. It doesn't take cosmic intelligence to know the answer. या गुरुजी के, suppose there is somebody who गुरुजी doesn't have no desire to bless. ये भी बहुत खुराफाती आदमी है, कुछ गड़बड़ सड़बड़ हमेशा करता रहता है. Suppose somebody tells him, go to बड़े मंदिर, वहां पे लंगर खाओ, हमारा कल्याण हो जाएगा. तो he goes with the desire कि अब तो बस जितने पुराने गुनाह किए हैं सब माफ, और मैं फिर से खुराफात करना शुरू करूंगा. Now he comes to बड़े मंदिर, takes langar. Now Guruji is looking at him. You think Guruji would say, अरे ये तो बड़े मंदिर आ गया, इसने लंगर भी खा लिया, अब तो मुझे bless करना ही पड़ेगा. You think it's like that? Just so think about all these things. So langar, चाय प्रसाद, संगत. And संगत, देखिए संगत क्या होती है? संगत is actually what we do with our guru. Sangat is not to collect a big crowd and sit with them, but संगत has a role, and I'll come to that too. So संगत जो हमारी केवल गुरु से करो. We should be doing our संगत. संगत is ध्यान basically. But there is a role for sangat, there is a value for sangat, there is a value for langar, and there is value for chai prasad and all this. The value is that this is how we build a community, Guru Parivar. If we don't have people getting together making langar together, enjoying chai prasad and langar together, we don't build a community. So it's very important to do that too. But इस विचार से मत करिए कि अगर आप लंगर खाएंगे तो आपको प्रसाद मिल जाएगा, लंगर नहीं खाएंगे तो नहीं प्रसाद मिलेगा। अब बड़े मंदिर जाएंगे तभी आपका फायदा है, नहीं जाएंगे तो नुकसान है। इस तरह से नहीं सोचिए। Those things are important, but for a different reason. But to connect with Guruji was the ultimate goal. Only dhyan, and have full confidence that it will work. But I think I have a little more time, so I'd like to take the time to get into a few other things that nobody gets into. देखिए, गुरुजी ने बहुत चीजें समझाई through his conduct, through what he did without talking about. एक तो देखिए 4 लोगों को एक साथ बैठकर लंगर करवाते थे. तो symbolism, look at why he did that. हमारी 4 कास्ट है ना, 4 लोगों को एक साथ बैठाने का मतलब गुरुजी का था कि there should not be any caste. We should sit together, eat together and be equal. तो हमेशा ध्यान रखिए, stop believing in caste. एक्चुअली गुरुजी ने बहुत क्लियरली मुझे बोला था एक बार, लोग जब बड़ी बेटी के लिए शादी, गुरुजी ने कहा इसकी शादी करो. जब शादी के लिए when we were looking for a groom, we were looking in our own caste. एक दिन गुरुजी ने समझाया, कहा कि कास्ट से ऊपर उठ. Said that very clearly. So if you want to be near your guru, we should also listen to our guru. We should follow what he expects us to do. Stop believing in caste. And anyway, it's very bad for us, for our samaj, for our society. Because see what used to happen, because of caste, only people of certain caste, which were no more than 5%, were expected to be soldiers and expected to fight. So, India was, all the kingdoms were very heavily populated. Small armies came. In the beginning, they used to be very scared. How can we attack, these populous, kingdoms? But then they realized that very few people came out to fight them. And it was so easy to fight in Indians because only 5% people would come out to fight. The rest, हम लोग सब बाकी लोग सब तमाशा देखते थे. So we made it easy to be conquered. अगर हम लोग, if we all believe in no caste, then we would have all been able to fight. So by the same token, if we didn't believe in any caste, we'll all be able to learn, become knowledgeable, become experts, do whatever we wanted to do, but caste stops us from doing it. So it's basically good for our own benefit. And look at what happened when our gurus, our Sikh gurus, made us realize that there should be no caste. By the time Ranjit Singh came, look at his kingdom, spread all the way from Satluj to Khyber Pass, from Thar Desert to Kashmir. And the Sikhs were no more than probably 3% of this whole area's population. They controlled everything. They controlled the Turks and the Afghans, who were the conquerors before them. So this is what happens when we get rid of caste. It's for a very good reason. Then Guruji told us many other things, through his own conduct. Guruji, देखिए double MA किया हुआ था. And of course, who he was as a Lord, he could speak any language. But even if he were a human being with a double MA, he was able to speak fluent Hindi, fluent English. और गुरुजी कभी क्या बोलते थे, हमेशा पंजाबी बोलते थे, और पंजाबी भी अपने गांव की पंजाबी, डुगरी की पंजाबी. Why? Because he was setting an example. Have self-respect. Believe in yourself. Respect yourself. You are no less because of the language you speak. Yeah? मैं इंग्लिश में बोल रहा हूँ, क्षमा करिएगा. परंतु गुरुजी, देखिए हम लोग अंग्रेजों के गुलाम रहे और उनकी नकल करते रहे, उनकी भाषा भी अपनाई. Only 2% of people in India are probably fluent in English, even less than 2%, and they are controlling everything. How can the country progress? Only 2% people doing everything. Where are the 98%? They are not even participating properly. So have self-respect. That was, he set an example very clearly. And देखिए गुरुजी की संगत में, those of you who were there, they probably know, there were plenty of army men who came. Disproportionately large number of army men were there compared to the population, even Punjab's population. Why was that? So Guruji तो जो भी जाता था गुरुजी की कृपा से जाता था, उनकी ब्लेसिंग से जाता था, जो वो जिसको चाहते थे वही आता था. Why did he want army people? You know, because in general, you can say they are weak, right? So that's a quality that we must emulate and develop ourselves. We should try to become courageous, brave. So 3 things are very important. If you want to be of with Guruji, if you want to be of service to Guru. First is bhakti. हम ध्यान के बारे में हम लोगों ने बात करी. Second is danvirta, because everything that we need to do to build a community requires contribution from us, either financial or time or effort. So that means we should be danvir. And finally, to protect our heritage, to protect our culture, to protect our own Guru, we must also be veer. You know, we don't want to face a situation where the barbarians one day tell us, and they can, throw away the Guruji's image because we don't believe in the image. Destroy your temple because we don't believe in temples. And stop saying Om Namah Shivaya because that's nonsense. And I'm saying that very nicely. But that can happen. Do you want that to happen? So just think about all these things. You know, Guru is not just for giving us a better job, or helping us getting our children married, or to have more money, or to have a bigger house. Guru's role is much bigger. And of course, his primary role, is of course in our mukti, our moksha. But beyond that, there are obligations that we have because we have our Guru. Let me illustrate with a historical, some information from history. I don't know whether you have heard about Bappa Rawal. But Bappa Rawal's name has been removed from the history books by these Marxist historians because they don't want us to be proud of our own history. But I'll tell you about Bappa Rawal. Bappa Rawal was a small-time Rajput chief. He was in the area of Mewar. But something dramatic happened at that time. In the year 712 AD, Mir Qasim, who was a very capable Arab general, conquered Singh. And it is said that he came all the way to Mathura. At that time, there was a sage by the name Harit Rashi. उन्होंने पप्पा रावल को अपना शिष्य बनाया. He was just a small Rajput chief. And Bappa Rawal को उन्होंने instruct किया कि throw away this man because he's a threat to our civilization, to our culture, to our heritage, to our values. Would you believe? Bappa Rawal did chase Mir Qasim and his army out of not just India, but all the way to central Iran at that time. And his domain extended all the way from Mewar to central Iran. He even married some Iranian women who became his queen. So that's a power that the Guru gives us to do the right thing. Small time Rajput chief by the name Bappa Rawal, his name was Kalboj, chased out the largest army that existed at that time with no problem. And he gave them such a bashing that nobody came back to India for 300 years after that. No Turk, no Afghan, no Arab, nobody. They were just absolutely so mortally terrified of the bashing they got by Bappa Rawal. So I'm not saying we have to do that. But I think at least for our Guru, we must preserve our heritage, preserve our culture, preserve our values, preserve our ways of doing what we are doing, what is right, not allow barbarians or idiots to tell us that we can't do this. We don't have to fight in the court to build a temple for our own deity. This is ridiculous, right? Look at around, what's happening. It's not right. And we must change it. Now, it has taken 1,000 years for it to get this bad. It is not going to change overnight. Some leaders will have to come up. Among you may be the leaders. If you can't lead, at least follow. At least if you can't directly follow, at least help with financial contribution or otherwise. So I wanted to share all my thoughts like that with you. Now, गुरुजी का गोल हमारे लिए बहुत बड़ा है और उसमें हमें किसी भी तरह की परेशानियां, किसी तरह की नहीं होनी चाहिए। एंड इस उधेड़बुन में कभी नहीं रहना चाहिए कि हमारा क्या होगा। वो तो दैट हैज बीन टेकन केयर। डोंट इवन वरी अबाउट। गुरुजी का मंत्र था ऐश करो। He is there. He is looking after us. Don't worry about small things like, ache and pain here and there, job, building a house, getting children married. That will all happen. That will just fall in place. Have faith. Have much bigger aim, bigger purposes in life. Contribute to the society. Contribute to the community. Contribute to the preservation of the culture, to our heritage, to our Guru himself. Right? So I hope I've been able to share some of my thoughts with you. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. Jai Guruji. And I think we still have some time left. So if somebody would like to say something, make any comment, ask any questions, I'm happy. Share any thoughts I may have. Jai Guruji. Nobody has anything, so I think that's very good. Everyone agrees. Guru's role is very important for us, just not for ourselves, but for our society. He is there like a rock of Gibraltar for us. We should never hesitate in taking on anything that is correct, that is right. Let's never be fearful. Let's not worry at all about anything. आपको जो भी करना है आप बिल्कुल निश्चिंत होकर करिए। सफलता आपके साथ है, बिकॉज़ गुरुजी आपके साथ। जय गुरुजी।
Mahendra uncle, we have one hand raise.
Sure.
If we can take that. Sure. Shashi aunty, you can unmute yourself.
जय गुरुजी अंकल।
जय गुरुजी।
अंकल मुझे ये पूछना था कि घर में हम सत्संग कैसे कर सकते हैं?
घर में जब आप मनाए कर तब करिए, आपको किसने रोका है?
नहीं, उसकी रूपरेखा क्या होनी चाहिए, मतलब कि सत्संग की रूपरेखा क्या होनी चाहिए? मेरे को मेन ये जानना है, क्योंकि बहुत कुछ सुनते हैं, बहुत कुछ देखते हैं, तो कंफ्यूजन हो जाती है बहुत ज्यादा कि क्या करें।
कंफ्यूजन आने कोई सवाल ही नहीं। गुरुजी ने कहा तो जैसा गुरुजी करते थे वैसे ही करिए। सबको अपने फ्रेंड्स को बुला लीजिए, जिनको आपको बुलाना है। आप गुरुजी के वहाँ पे एक फोटो होनी चाहिए, आपको लैंप दिया बर्न करना चाहिए, दैट इज रिप्रेजेंटिंग गुरुजी बेसिकली। और आप शब्द चलाइए जो आपको शब्द अच्छे लगे। और खाने पीने केवल चाय प्रसाद से ज्यादा। मैं सवेरे,
हाँ जी, जैसे मैं सवेरे बैठती हूँ तो गुरुजी से जैसे मेरी टेलीपैथी होती है, तो गुरुजी हमेशा मुझे यही बोलते हैं, तू ते मैं। बस वो हमेशा यही बोलते हैं मुझे, तू ते मैं, तीजा कोई नहीं, तू ते मैं बस।
मतलब यू एंड आई।
हाँ जी, हाँ जी।
No, that is true. That is sangat. That is the definition of sangat basically. The sangat जो हम लोग करते हैं, तो sangat is with guru, not with everybody else. Sangat means companionship of our guru. You should be in his companionship. So आप बहुत अच्छा कर रही हैं।
Thank you, uncle. Thank you.
Jai Guruji. I think so that concludes our session for the day. Thank you again to the Multilingual group for doing such a wonderful, amazing job, for doing such amazing service to the whole community, to the Guru Parivar. Please keep doing it. We are so proud of you.
जय गुरुजी अंकल।
जय गुरुजी।
मैं रशिमा मली बोल रही हूँ। अंकल, आज आपका सत्संग सुन के बहुत अच्छा लगा। गुरुजी हमारे हैं ही ऐसे, कितनों का कल्याण करते हैं और ना जाने कितनों का बेड़ा पार लगाते हैं। जितने गुण गाएं गुरुजी के उतने कम हैं। सबकी झोलियां भर देते हैं। सारी संगत आपका सत्संग सुन के आनंदित हो गई। आपकी बेटी का जो सत्संग सुना कि गुरुजी ने कैसे ठीक कर दिया, गुरुजी ने अपना हाथ उठाया और कहा जा कल्याण कीता, और सचमुच कल्याण हो गया। आपने गुरुजी को कभी सोते हुए नहीं देखा और इसलिए पूछ लिया कि गुरुजी आप सोते नहीं हैं क्या? तो उन्होंने कहा मैं सोऊंगा तो सृष्टि रखी होएगा, है ना?
राइट,
बहुत
सृष्टि
ही
को कौन
सुंदर।
देखे? राइट,
कौन देखेगा? बिल्कुल। अंकल, आपको, आंटी को मैंने कई बार देखा है, बहुत अच्छा लगता है आपको देखकर। उषा आंटी को तो हमने कई बार सुना है, आज आपने भी सत्संग किया, हम सब निहाल हो गए। आप बहुत सुंदर तरीके से बताया कि लंगर का महत्व क्या है। थैंक यू अंकल, बहुत अच्छा लगा। थैंक यू,
जय गुरु।
थैंक यू सो मच।
जय गुरु।
जय गुरु जी। शुकराना गुरु जी। किस किस गल दा शुकराना करा मैं गुरु जी। ए मनुख चून देन दा शुकराना, जिन्हों देवता भी तरसते ने। इस दिल दियां धड़कनां दा, इन साहां दा शुकराना। अपनी संगत बनाउण दा शुकराना, सत्संग च बिठाउण दा शुकराना गुरु जी। हर पल अंग संग रहन दा ते ओदा एहसास दिलान दा शुकराना। इस जिंदगी च सर उठा के जी पान दा शुकराना गुरु जी। साडे जन्मां जन्मां दे भैड़े कर्मां नूं माफ करन दा शुकराना। सानू जिंदगी दे नए मायने समझाउण दा शुकराना गुरु जी। ते सब तो वड्डा शुकराना उन सब परेशानियां दा गुरु जी, जिन्हां दी वजह दे नाल तुहाडा मिलना हो पाया। क्योंकि जे इस जिंदगी च वो दुख ते परेशानियां नहीं आंदियां ते असी शायद तुहानू लाभ ही नहीं पाना सी। बस मेरी यही अरदास है गुरु जी, सरबत दा भला करो, सब दा कल्याण करो। सत्संग, सेवा, सिमरन ते अपनी भक्ति दा दान दिओ गुरु जी। तुहाडी रहमतां दा जशन मनावां, पर कदी भी मेरे च मैं ना आवे। मैनू ए सोझी दिओ कि कुछ भी स्थिर नहीं है, सिर्फ तुहाडा ते मेरा रिश्ता ही सदा रहना है। सानू अपनी रजा विच राजी रहना सिखाओ गुरु जी। मैं कदे ना भुल्लां कि तुहाडी मर्जी तो बगैर कदे कुछ नहीं हुंदा। मैं याद रखां कि मेरी अगली सांह दा भी भरोसा नहीं। ना मैं अपनी मर्जी तो आया ते ना मैं कदे अपनी मर्जी तो जा सकदा। मैं छोटी वड्डी होनियां च तुहाडी रहमतां नूं देखां, हर जीव विच तुहानू देखां गुरु जी। तुसी मैनू जिथे भी रखो, जिस हाल च भी रखो, मैं तुहाडा शुकराना करना ना भुल्लां। गुरु जी, जे तुहाडी रहमतां पा के मैं नीवा नहीं रहना ते मैनू अपनी रहमतां ना बख्शा जे। मैं कदी ना भुल्लां कि जो सब कुछ दे सकदा है, वो सब कुछ कदे भी लै सकदा है। मैनू कुछ नहीं चाहिदा गुरु जी, सिर्फ वो चाहिदा है जो तुहानू मंजूर है। मैनू कदे भी वो ना मिले जो मैनू तुहाडे तो दूर करे। मेरे गुनाहां नू बख्श देना गुरु जी। असी चंगे माड़े तेरे, गुरु जी सानू बख्शो। असी कीते पाप बथेरे, गुरु जी सानू बख्शो। बस ਇਹੀ ਉਹ ਅਰਦਾਸ ਹੈ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ। ਜੈ ਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ, ਸ਼ੁਕਰਾਨਾ ਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ।
शुक्राना महाराज, आज्ञा मालिक, आज्ञा संगत जी।
जय गुरु जी, शुक्राना
जय गुरु जी, शुक्राना गुरु जी।
हैप्पी बैसाखी टू ऑल संगत।
सबकी मनोकामनाएं पूरी करें, सबके दुख दर्द दूर करें, सबको सुख शांति दें। जय जय गुरु जी, वाह वाह गुरु जी।
हैप्पी बैसाखी, हैप्पी बैसाखी। थैंक यू सो मच सिंह
Happy
uncle,
Baisakhi to everyone.
Singh uncle, thank you so very much for the beautiful blessing. Thank you so very much. जय गुरु जी। जय गुरु जी। रश्मा आंटी, आपको मैं याद करती हूँ बहुत। आप बहुत ब्यूटीफुली आप वहाँ गुरु जी के पास आते थे। आई रिमेम्बर यू सो मच। आप में इतनी भक्ति है, इतना प्यार है। जय गुरु जी। गुरु जी आप सबको ब्लेस करें, सबको ब्लेस करें, हम सबको ब्लेस करें। गुरु जी के चरणों में बैठे रहें हम सारे और उनके साथ ही बैसाखी मनाएं। जय गुरु जी, जय गुरु जी। सो हैप्पी टुडे।
जय गुरु जी।